In the year 2011, Syrians took to the streets. They were angry. They protested against their president, Bashar al-Assad. A full-scale civil war followed. 12 years on, with 500,000 people dead, cities devastated, and other countries dragged into the conflict, stories of suffering continue to trickle in. About the lives lost, about the absolute levels of despair, about loved ones separated, about mothers who can no longer cradle their babies. Just put yourself in their shoes for a few minutes. How would you feel if you were a mother in a refugee camp who does not know where the next meal will come from, if at all? There is not enough to go by, not even to feed your little one. Sounds painful, doesn't it? Well, that is what's happening right now in Syria, where mothers are being forced to abandon their babies. Babies are being left outside mosques, hospitals, even under trees. Have a look at these figures. Between early 2021 and late 2022, more than 100 children were found abandoned. 62 of them were girls. 53 abandoned newborns were registered in government-controlled areas in the first 10 months of 2022 alone. Out of this, 28 were boys, 25 were girls. And such cases were rarely seen before. But since the war broke out, the figures have increased dramatically. But numbers, after all, are just numbers. Today, we put a face on them. This is Hibatullah. She was abandoned by her mother in front of a mosque. One cold winter evening, Ibrahim Othman was headed to that same mosque and he found the baby on the ground, abandoned, moving her legs like she did not have a care in the world. Othman and his wife took her in. Listen to their story.
I decided to raise her for God because she came from God. What's her guilt? Today, this baby is more precious than my own children. She has lived with us since she was 2 hours old. She's part of the family, even if she's spoiled a bit more than the other children.
But you see, not all babies are as lucky as Hibatullah. Many never see the light of the day. Others fall victim to human trafficking, and only a few are saved by rescue centers. But they rarely find the love of a family because adoption is forbidden across Syria. What is their crime? Why do they have to suffer like this? They are victims of the civil war, so are their mothers. There is poverty, there is instability, insecurity to say the least. Many such babies are born out of wedlock. Many are the result of child marriage or sex abuse. Syrians are trying to cope with this. The government is setting up dedicated facilities for abandoned children. And what happens at these centers? Let's just take you inside one. In rebel-held Idlib province, social workers tend to tiny babies wrapped in blankets. This center has taken in 26 babies since it opened in the year 2019. 9 were taken in this year alone. One baby girl they took in was found under an olive tree. This is disturbing, but you should know this. The baby was mauled by a cat. Her face was dripping with blood when the workers found her. Listen to what her nanny had to say.
My relationship with the children is like that of a mother or a grandmother because I'm in my 50s. I watch over them. It's tiring, but it's also beautiful because you feel like you're raising a soul with whom you've been entrusted. You have to look after her more than you would your own son. Why? Because it's a responsibility before God. It's our job.
And this is what more than a decade of a war does to a country. Leaders of countries sit in their offices and give out their orders, but those who are suffering ultimately are the people on the ground. babies like Hibatullah, and mothers who are forced to leave their innocent kids behind. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.